You're watching Tornado Facts with Beanrock124, Season 2, Episode 14, or Episode 34. My name is Nathan, and I talk about tornadoes all the time. And my voice is back. Unlike last week. Last week was an absolute mess. I will say right now, that will be the worst Tornado Facts with Beanrock124 video ever, because it was just an absolute disaster. Not because the video was bad itself, it was just because of how my voice was. I was barely getting through anything without having my voice crack or me losing breath because I'm practically yelling. But anyways, that's not the focus of this video, because Nashville is kind of a weird place. Today we're talking about the tornado outbreak of May 30 through 31st, 1998. The tornado outbreak and derecho event. It was a historic tornado outbreak and derecho event that began on the afternoon of May 30th and extended throughout May 31st of 1998. This occurred across a large portion of northern half of the United States and southern Ontario, from southeastern Montana and eastward and southeastward through to the Atlantic Ocean. This tornado outbreak and derecho event was the reason for the only high risk of severe weather being issued by the Storm Prediction Center ever in the Northeast on May 31st. I believe we will get to that later. The initial tornado outbreak, including the devastating Spencer F4 tornado, hits southeast South Dakota on the evening of May 30th. The Spencer tornado was the most destructive and second deadliest tornado in South Dakota history. A total of 13 people were killed throughout the event, 7 by tornadoes and 6 by the derecho. Over 2 million people lost power, and some for up to 10 days. The derecho was the most violent line of thunderstorms observed on Earth during the 1998 calendar year, according to the National Weather Service review shortly after the year was over. Just wait till 1999. Prince's 1999 song. I don't know why I did that. Would be referenced in this year, and we also have another tornado event that happened in 1999. Everybody should know what that is. I ain't having to say it. This was the climax of an unusually heavy derecho season in the north-central United States and adjacent parts of Canada and the northeast United States. The storm combined the characteristics of two major forms of derecho, the serial and progressive derecho. Now, speaking of those, remember Weatherbox and how I referenced his channel a couple weeks ago when I was talking about the Birmingham F5 tornado outbreak? I'm going to reference his channel again. He made another video about this outbreak, and he goes into heavy detail about the outbreak itself and the setup for the storm and what caused it, along with the different types of derecho, and I highly recommend watching it. It is a very good video. I will link it in the description below. Anyways, it's some points of its evolution of the storm. It displayed textbook or record manifestations of supercell and derecho-related phenomena, such as the right mover supercell, evolution of supercells into a linear mesoscale feature, which rapidly became a derecho, cumulonimbus clouds with overshooting top and dome, bow echo, bookend vortices, regular and rotor downbursts, gust front, gust NATO, rear inflow notch, classic derecho radar signature, effects on infrasound and atmospheric electricity. That word, I know how to say it, I just don't want to say it because it's going to sound weird when I say it. Wind effects on bodies of water, including sieges and exposure of bottoms of water features by the wind. The disturbance, which was originally the derecho, finally disappeared off the coast of Norway more than a week after the event. So the May 30th event, the first severe weather of the outbreak was reported at 12:30 p.m. in southeastern Montana. Several hours later, a supercell thunderstorm produced 2 3/4 inch diameter hail across southeast Montana, kicking off the outbreak in earnest. Numerous reports of very large hail were received throughout the outbreak, with the largest official report of 3 inches 10 miles north of St. Lawrence in east central South Dakota. The hail itself produced thousands of dollars in damage alongside the tornadoes that did touch down. Many reports of severe straight-line wind damage and many reports of severe straight-line winds and damage were also reported. Numerous storm chasers reports suggest that significant severe weather events also occurred in the sparsely populated area traversed by the storm. Later that evening, a supercell in southeastern South Dakota produced a series of tornadoes. The family of tornadoes that crossed the Spencer area was observed by a Dow that was operated and managed by Josh Warman, where everybody knows who that is. The Dow observed the tornadoes from before 8:04 p.m. through 8:45 p.m. local time, and the passage of a destructive F4 tornado through Spencer, South Dakota, from 8:37 to 8:38 p.m. Dow measurements of tornadic winds over the largely destroyed southern portion of Spencer have permitted the first and only as of 2006 in December direct comparison of measured winds with F or EF scale damage ratings as reported in the above referenced articles, which means this one here and this one here, I believe. Peak observed Doppler winds near 150 meters per second, 260 miles an hour, corresponded well within the documented F4 damage. This tornado was 1 mile away from becoming an F5, just like Rochelle. And speaking of Rochelle, I have a surprise for the people that like surprises. There's a video coming out on my channel later on today. But I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's a secret. Anyways, Dow observations show that the list of tornadoes derived from damage surveys alone and the F scale rating of that damage may be incomplete and underestimate the actual tornado intensity. Single tornadoes may be mischaracterized as multiple tornadoes due to breaks in the observed damage. Dow measurements suggest that the F4 tornado may have been a multi-vortex structure as it struck Spencer. Ooh, my voice is starting to get bad again. Let's hope it stays good. So this is the May 30th event. These are the tornadoes that occurred on May 30th. None unrated: 7F0, 8F1, 3F2, no F3, 1F4. Fortunately, no F5, for a total of 18. And here's the tornadoes. So this is the South Dakota event here. This was part of the derecho. We'll get to the Spencer one in a second. There's the Spencer tornado there. Now don't think this video is over yet because we still got all this to talk about. Anyways, the Spencer, South Dakota F4 tornado was the most destructive and second deadliest tornado in the state of South Dakota. It was also the 5th deadliest tornado of the year. It began as a large dust-cloaked tornado northwest of Farmer, South Dakota in Hanson County, concurrent with the demise of the Fulton tornado. Continuing toward the east-southeast, it struck several farmsteads before crossing the Hanson-McCook County line, a half-mile west-northwest of Spencer. At this time, the tornado was being observed by University of Oklahoma's Doppler on Wheels crew, or the Dow, whose mobile Doppler radar data showed winds up to 220 miles an hour, and the tornado only a few decameters above the ground, which is very, very low to the ground. So that means this tornado was very, very intense. This tornado carved a 3/8 mile wide path. Why couldn't they just say something else besides 3/8 of a mile? The tornado was 3/8 of a mile wide as it struck the town of Spencer between 8:38 and 8:44 p.m., destroying or damaging all but a few houses on the northeast side of town and blowing over the water tower. I thought winds were supposed to go around the water tower, not through it. Several homes in town were swept from their foundations by the tornado. The tornado killed 6, injured 150, which is more than 1/3 of the town residents, and destroyed most of the town's 190 buildings. Sounds like Greensburg. Many trees and power lines were down, and vehicles were destroyed as well. 5 of the 6 fatalities occurred in an apartment building that collapsed. Thank God it was not a mobile home. Damage was estimated at $18 million. The population of the town diminished soon after to less than half of what it was previous to the tornado, from 315 to 145 in April 1999. Oh, great. We got this part now. This is the derecho itself. The derecho got its start from a developing low-pressure system that moved into the northern Great Plains and Great Lakes area. The derecho formed from the same storm system that spawned the Spencer tornado, which killed 6. The supercell thunderstorm which produced that tornado transitioned into the derecho, which killed another 6 people. It would become the most destructive natural disaster to hit the upper Midwest in recent memory. Here's the effects on the area here. What's the most? Okay, I'm gonna read this part because it's the most important. That was the surprise right there. This derecho will go on to break the record for the biggest power outage ever in the state of Minnesota, but was later surpassed by the one that happened in 2003 that affected most of the northeastern United States and caused havoc. It had a lot of places. 860,000 people lost power, slightly more than the number from the Southern Great Lakes derecho of 1991. I don't know how I did not cover that. Probably didn't have enough tornadoes to warrant a video for it. It blew down five 345 kilovolt transmission towers owned by Consumers Energy. So overall, the derecho traveled 975 miles from southern Minnesota to central New York in 15 hours at an average speed of 65 miles per hour. It became one of the most damaging derecho events in North America's history, causing $300 million in damage. So here's the tornadoes that happened in New York and Pennsylvania. I kind of don't feel like reading it because I'm getting tired. And it's 11 o'clock at night, and I got up at 4 a.m. the night before you were watching this because of the wrestling stuff I have been doing. So I've been up for a long time, and I kind of want to go to bed. Anyways, I'll finish this off. None unrated, 13F0, 13F... Okay, so this is for the May 31st event. Not 2013, by the way. None unrated, 13F0, 13F1, 10F2, 6F3, and fortunately no F4s or F5s for a total of 42 tornadoes. And here are the tornadoes here. I'd like to see if there are mobile homes, and no, there are not. For the first time in a while, I don't think last episode had one either. There have been no deaths. There were no deaths in a mobile home, as far as I know. So, this has been Tornado Facts of Beanrock124, Season 2, Episode 14, or Episode 34, talking about the tornado outbreak of May 30th through 31st, 1998. So, goodbye.